Santosh Kumar to kindly provide his insights and valuable inputs on the first session, Saving Life and Limb Ethically, the Basic Premise for Humanitarian Crisis Management.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sutapa Niyogiji, the Director of the institution, and Executive Director Sri Rajendra Ratnuji, who is the Chief Guest of this occasion. We have Dr. Sahin also with us. He is working with the CRI and also one of the partners. And Dr. Nidhi, you have brought us here to interact with the young mind. There's already ignited mind for the humanitarian crisis. And it's our opportunity to interact with the youngsters to get the things for, like also to comprehend our own thoughts, that what are the challenges for the future which you see is important for us while making a plan and so on and so forth. When we talk about humanitarian crisis and the very gloomy picture which came up, that the kind of challenges which is unfolding, and this we see that suffering is going to be much harder than what we have today. And whole of the work which we are working and committed to is for actually eradicating that suffering. And humanitarian crisis and the humanitarian workers. The job is this crisis is there and we are the workers. The workers' job is to do what? The workers' job is to remove the kind of a stress, distress, unhappiness to happiness. That's what the challenge which we have. And many people, or almost all the people, have to go through the same kind of a process. No one is free from the crisis. Everyone in the individual level or the community level or the national level or the international level, we have different one or the other kinds of crisis in our life. At times we cope with, and at times we need help from others too, actually. This type of crisis always happens. So I wanted to understand when we started our career that humanitarian, that was a very prominent word, humanitarian crisis, when we started, say, 30 years ago. And hardly anything, what Mr. Ratnu has raised is very valuable questions. It's not only the reactive, but also become proactive. Youngsters and we all together have to think what the key messages which he is trying to give. Humanitarian crisis emerges after the crisis. But how that impact can be reduced and can be made minimum, but that is possible only when we start working ex ante, pre-disaster or pre-scenario. What is our preparedness as a humanitarian worker? What are the things which are unfolding as a challenge? And those challenges to be taken up as in a different way. One, you must have heard about the Buddha's story. One very much grieved lady, she lost her kid and she was looking for an answer. And she was into grief and crying, howling and everything. And no one can actually, that time was able to help her to come out from that grief. So all humanitarian crisis, the worker or the community during that time, the worker concept was not there, but it's always the community feeling was there. So everyone trying to. So people said that probably you will get the answer from Buddha. So there is a saint, you go to him and probably ask this question, probably he would help you in taking you out of the suffering. So the lady went to him and asked this question that I have this child, and so I lost him because of some problem happened and because of his illness. So you have to actually take care of me and you have to bring him back. Buddha very quietly did not lose his patience and very quietly listened to the lady, gave full time, full ears to her and said, okay, we will do that. Certainly, I will take care of your problem. But one kind of एक शर्त है और उस शर्त में ये है कि you go and collect a bowl of rice और उस घर से लाना जहां किसी की डेथ नहीं. So the lady went and went and went and went and went. After that, when she came back in the evening to Buddha, said, oh, good that you have come. कहाँ है चावल हो गया? Bowl do. The lady said that I went to every house, every single house in the vicinity, and I did not find any house where this kind of a grief or suffering was not there. So Buddha very quietly said that. So you got the answer. You yourself solve your own problems. So everyone has to go through such kind of a process. Only thing that we have to realize, we have to cope and we have to move. As a humanitarian worker, we are also victim and also we are the service providers. So in two different roles and different times, that when how we can bring that compassion in ourselves. Humanitarian means what? That you have to be ready to go beyond yourself. And that beyond yourself meaning thereby that you have to take care of the person with the same compassion and love which you want for yourself. So that is the best part to be taken up as a humanitarian worker, is how to bring that compassion and that love as a kind of a major characteristic as a service provider. Whether you take this pre-positioning or whether you go for ex-ante, whether you go for pre-disaster planning or you go for the post-disaster planning. When we were going to in many flood situations, Ratnuji is a very much and very dedicated practitioners when it comes to disaster. And you must have seen his passion. He started his career and then district magistrate, he faced the tsunami. And he said he's a practitioner. So whatever the solutions which we would be trying to give with our own research, like institution like IIHM, so that kind of a thing will go as a kind of execution. So what kind of solutions which we are trying to look at, either from the research, whether we are from the kind of our own wisdom, from our much of our reading. So those practitioners will also take and institutionalize as a kind of a public policy. So there we see that what are the operations challenges and what are the public policy challenges as humanitarian workers. So these two things are also to be taught that yes, that we have a problem, we would be having problem. And like earlier, we used to have one disaster in 10 years of time. We are having 10 disasters in 1 year of time. So there's total paradigm shift in the kind of events which we are in. And this is getting also multiplied with the conflict situation, as we already mentioned. It's also getting complex with the kind of different vulnerabilities. And that different vulnerabilities, whether in terms of, you talk about poverty, and it's not below poverty line is saying that and everything is the same. No. Many of the victims you will find that people are right on the poverty line, and you find much below than the poverty line also. So depth of poverty is also to be seen. All below poverty line people are not the same kind of challenges that as a victim than the that we see. So importantly, that social system is also to be recognized in what kind of a social system, what are the cultural reality in which we are living as a social worker. So when we moved to, I was undergoing in Israel for the disaster risk management training and went to the hospital and wanted to see that what are the practices they are doing for actually providing, as you have said, the dilemma of ethics of amputation, and also you said about that saving lives. So there in the hospital, what I could see that if they were doing of the, say, the scenario of earthquake, and they found that 200 patients are coming as an affected person reporting to the kind of a hospital. So what could be the, as a humanitarian crisis you say, or the emergency support system you say, or the psychosocial care you should say, or whether you should talk about the physical health intervention you can say, all gets actually together at same point of time. Everything is to be given at the same point of time to the person, the requirements which he emerges out. So how to do this kind of this complex reality as a humanitarian worker? And so many of them, if you don't attend them, they may die, or they go for amputation, or some certain kind of things happen. So what is the readiness of the worker, and what are the readiness of the institution, and what are the readiness of the whole system for addressing such issues? So how to get this IIHMR courses for the different hospitals, if you like the kind of emergencies which we had gone to this Himachal Pradesh last week to do the damage and loss assessment, what is happening. Right there, when we are there and people are dying and slip off the whole of the mud, or the pahad gir jata hai, jisko kehte hain local language. and then 10 people are buried there. So how to get them out, how to do the counseling, or how to go for amputation, or how to go for this saving lives. In such kind of a scenario you would be in the future and also at present. So how we prioritize. So what Israel did for this such kind of a situation, many countries now practicing this, including India. So when 200 people are there and you see that how many staff in trauma center you have and how you are going to address the last patient, that is the most important. So first one will get, let's say, 20 seconds kind of and 20 seconds you are approaching, and then, but 200 will take the 20 into 200. So 400 or 4,000 kind of a minutes that you will reach to the last patient. So how to provide that kind of a crisis situation as a kind of a dealing with the life and also dealing with the different challenges of amputation or maybe psychosocial disorder. So those kinds of things would emerge. So that in our courses also we need to look into that what kind of a situation we are in. So those who are living in the crisis situation, those who are the victims, see the plight of the victims, and victims are not a homogeneous category. Victims are very, very heterogeneous. Some will have a very good physical strength, those who will have some very good mental strength, but some, as you said, that malnourished, the children, girl child, the male child, their vulnerabilities are different. So it's not, we cannot say that one size fit to all would work for everyone. So we need to very, very kind of it's a time of specialization, it's a time of science and technology, it's a time for, we say that we are moving into 5G to 6G and AI and other things, how that could be applied for the humanitarian system. This is also very, very important. Scanning a patient, how fast we can go ahead with this. So those kind of things to be brought in our understanding of saving lives and amputation. But always there is a crisis of that deciding to do what. And one word, very heavy word is there, is ethics. So at times, what are the ethical things which comes into play that you have mentioned to address on that? What are the ethical issues which are coming in the way? That you are aware and you know that better, that what are the ethical issues which comes in. Many of the places when you go, the service providers, they might ask that I need so much of X money or Y money or Z money, then only I will provide services. At the time of humanitarian crisis, this is ethical value. That how this ethical value of the nation is getting built in the sector for who is providing humanitarian assistance. We say that humanitarian assistance is the kind of, we are going beyond ourselves. We are going as a people are into crisis and we need to help them out. So that is the thing which we need to look at, that how the younger generation think that who am I? मेरा जन्म किस लिए हुआ है? Whether धनराशि कमाने के लिए, अपना मकान बनाने के लिए, बच्चों का लालन पालन करने के लिए, गाड़ी खरीदने के लिए, or something else. These are the means, not the end of the life. So when we are into, we have opted our career as a humanitarian worker or the health worker or this, how we can design and keep asking these questions. They might be very uncomfortable, but also this will give you comfort in the long run. So that kind of a questions need to be asked, that what is my objective of being here in the whole of the crisis situation? When you are sent to such kind of a places, then again you have to ask this question, what for I have come? What is my duty? What is my responsibility? And then you immediately you come out with this Constitution of India, this Article 14 to 19. They have given you a right and responsibilities. So there we have to see that right to life with dignity. So where and how you are providing dignity to the victims. Mr. Ratnu has already mentioned about that used clothes were distributed as a humanitarian work. This is not maintaining the dignity. What I am saying is that Chalta Hai approach is over. Bring that digital approach that X is okay, Y is not okay. There is no partial fulfillment. X is there, Y is there. So planning for that how we can best provide those services to the people. I could be victim, my mother could be victim, my sister could be victim. So we are not doing for some others. We can also be a possible victims for any circumstances. So idea is to look into, introspect ourselves, that how we are going to address these issues when it's come to us, and how somebody would behave with us when I am into that kind of a circumstances. that what is my expectations, and if my expectations are not fulfilled, then we will always be kind of a very critique to the whole of the system. So the idea is to how the ethical values can be brought in the minds of the youngsters and what are the expectations for the older generations. That is our responsibility. If we have not given you a kind of that comfort in the system, probably you can bring that change in that system and take the help of the elders, their experiences, and you bring your own ideology. You build your own ideology that what for you are here. Keep asking before you go to the bed, ask this question, what for I am here? And probably you will get all the answers by yourself. Nobody would say, you don't require Buddha, you don't require Nanak, you don't require anyone. You will get your own answer. So the idea is that how the elder generation, older generation can help you in shaping your own thoughts. You can interact, not necessarily that you will agree with them, but you try to agree or you try to disagree to agree. So that is this important thing when it comes to the, because humanitarian crisis is not a very simple thing. It's very, very challenging, but very fulfilling as well. If you go, we always say that disaster management, somebody asked that how you have come into the disaster management. I was an economist teacher. I was teaching in the academy where bureaucrats comes to, after completing their civil services, they come for the training. Our job was to teach economics, that contemporary, what are the challenges there. But I've fallen in this by default, but I'm liking and I have no regret in life. I chose this and very, very satisfying. I'm not saying that just for the sake of saying it. But imagine when you are bringing a smile, what Buddha brought that a smile to that lady. So it's very important as a humanitarian crisis. When we were visiting Bihar and a whole family was living on the highway, on the relief camp. As a tarpaulin seats, you understand very well. Tarpaulin seats and the family of 11 people, plus 2 livestock, cattle. And they were all living 10 by 10. I had written one small piece was 10 by 10. And in Bihar, that time, the 3 months altogether, they stayed in the kind of on highways. Children were having the 1 or 2 clothes with them. And they were having drench bhi ho rahe hain or khel bhi rahe hain. So that other kind of challenges, skin diseases were emerging. मैं पूछा कौन कौन कैसे सोते हो आप लोग तो दिन में they had a kind of a different kind of a timing schedule for them. सास ससुर किस समय सोते हैं, बहू किस समय सोती है, बच्चे किस समय और जानवर क्या भी रख रखा होता है. So that kind of this is all humanitarian assistance which we are giving. So idea is to relook and standardize it and see that whether 14 to 18 article which we say life and also life with dignity, is it the dignity which we are offering at the time of crisis? No. So many times the challenge of the system is also we are not that prosperous country, we are progressing, but we do not have resources to actually fulfill the dreams of the people always. But we have always faith and we are optimistic that yes, we can do that. But idea is to first, it must come to our mind. Intention is very important for the action. So that intention we have to bring in our as a kind of whenever the ethical dilemma comes in, bring that into fore that yes, this is to be given, what I expect from others, that should be given to them. So that dilemma would be taken care of. So that idea is then how we can actually, I will end with this and I'll just share a small story with you. Mullah Nasruddin ka naam suna hai? Have you heard about this Mullah Nasruddin? Mullah Nasruddin was visiting, he was a traveler. So one village to other village to other village to other. So he was traveling and sat this under the tree and he was taking a rest. And there was a small pond and village pond. So one of the Sethji of that village came and he was just went for the wash karne ke liye jaate to unka pair fisal gaya and he just drowned. Usme chale gaya and he was just shouting, save me, bachao, bachao, bachao kind of thing. Then villagers came listening to the Seth because the very familiar voice. So all villagers came to the pond and said, "Ki apna haath do, apna haath do, apna haath do." Sethji se keh rahe the, give your hand, give your hand. But Sethji was just bachao, bachao, bachao. Then villagers said complex issues, how to deal with this. So वो तुरंत वो जाते हैं और देखा कि मुल्ला नसरुद्दीन is sitting there and enjoying the whole process which is going on. So they went and you are laughing. The man is drowning. He is हमारे विलेज में सबको वो देते हैं, पैसा देते हैं, साहूकार है वो. सो ही इज अ लाइफ सेवर फॉर अस. एंड यू आर कह कि नहीं तुम जाके सीधे बोलो कि मेरा हाथ लो, टेक माई हैंड. Then villagers went immediately back and he was shouting again, bachao, bachao, bachao. Villager said, मेरा हाथ लो, मेरा हाथ लो. Immediately said जी, उनका हाथ पकड़ के फिर उनको रेस्क्यू करके बाहर आ गया. Then again villagers went to the मुल्ला ने सोचा कि इसमें what was the kind of ऐसा मैजिक क्या था दो और दो में. The magic was that his whole work is to take money, ना वो सूद का पैसा लेने का है. तो उसकी हैबिट, उसका आइडिया, उसकी एथिक्स, एवरीथिंग इज दैट. सो जैसे बोला कि अपना लो तो उनको समझ आया कि कुछ मिल रहा है, फिर उसके बाद उसने. तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. पावर टू गिव इज वेरी चैलेंजिंग एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. पावर टू लेने वाले तो रहते ही है, एंड ह्यूमैनिटेरियन वर्कर्स इज टू ऑलवेज टू गिव. सो एंजॉय द पावर ऑफ गिविंग and there is no ethical dilemma would be there, and keep asking this question every time when you go to the event, what for I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. DM is really very fulfilling, and agreeing to the disagreement is the key for life. It's the mantra for life. So we should all learn it from the very beginning, irrespective of the fact we work in which domain of public health.